I'm straight, but I'm bullying my school's resident nerd to kiss me. I can't get enough of him. Kiss the nerd! Kiss the nerd! If it wasn't obvious what the crowd around me were demanding, they were asking me, Devon, to kiss the school's resident nerd, Ryan. Ryan was probably gay, so I was sure he didn't have a problem with this stupid dare, but he looked too eager, and it was getting on my nerves. I wasn't even gay. I'm not even gay, I bemoaned and looked at Dean for a second. We should change this dare. Can you give me anything else? Dean shook his head. No can do. I huffed and then rolled my eyes. Whatever. It's just a kiss, Ryan said next, as if he was a part of this conversation. He was, in a way, but it was a bigger matter to me than it was to him. Or at least, I'd like to think that. Shut up, nerd, I replied. Though there wasn't any bite in my words, I didn't want to come out rude to Ryan, of all people. If anyone was innocent in this whole situation, it was probably Ryan. Only if I hadn't given Dean's girlfriend the dare to kiss another boy, maybe then I wouldn't have to deal with this. But whatever. When the crowd continued to chant, I realized it was better I kiss Ryan and get done with it. I removed his glasses first, and then thought, man, those eyes are bright and pretty. But I did not waste my time on such thoughts. I was not gay. I just had a dare to kiss the guy. I grabbed Ryan by his collar, pulled his comparatively tinier frame against me, and kissed him. He stumbled into my arms with a small squeak of surprise, and if I wasn't so flushed with a certain awareness, I would have laughed right into his mouth. But I was suddenly aware of something new. I liked kissing Ryan. Suddenly, all the nervousness and annoyance that I felt prior to this seemed to vanish. Suddenly, all I wanted to do was kiss him, but the time was up, and we had to pull away to not make it look suspicious. The crowd around us hooted. Ryan looked positively gone, and my heart was beating erratically, a sign that I needed to get out of there fast, lest I did something stupid, like kissing Ryan again. Done? I choked out the word and looked at everyone. Done, Dean replied with a small smile and a thumbs up. I gave him a thumb down and walked out of that cursed place. I didn't want to look at Ryan again, even though, for the next couple of hours at the party, I did exactly that. But nothing could justify what I did next. Sometime later. Hey, I said, and I did not say this to my typical group of friends, but to Ryan, of all people. He looked just as drunk as me, and we looked like drunk fools trying to talk. I could only hope to deliver my message as it was intended in my head, but I needed to see if the kiss was bothering him as well, because I knew Ryan was probably gay. I believed the kiss probably excited him more than disturbed him. The rumors around the campus were vicious. If what they said was true, then Ryan's last boyfriend cheated on him 7 months ago. So, he was gay. Probably. I just needed to make sure about that. Hi, Ryan replied, giggling and stumbling over his 2 left feet. Hi, I repeated, and then repeated the word several times. At some point, I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Then, I worried for my eyes. I was drunk. What if I couldn't roll them back? What did you think of that? I asked. About what? He asked. About the kiss, dumbass. Oh, Ryan said and looked around us. It was okay, I think. Okay, I mumbled, slightly offended. I prided myself on my skills, and the resident nerd just called my skills okay? How embarrassing was that? Even though I was drunk, I was offended. Should I kiss you again to prove that I'm not just okay? Ryan giggled, and the mocking lit to it grated on my nerves. You can do that when you aren't too scared, loser. That I took it as an invitation to kiss him. Ryan gasped and covered his mouth with a hand. He swayed a little on his feet, just as I was doing, and I knew there could be a better time to deal with the raging questions in my head than this moment, but I continued anyway. Why did you kiss me? Ryan asked, gasping for breath each time his eyes caught mine. Because you provoked me. It was the most ridiculous answer one could give another. Yet, there I was, because you provoked me. Who said things like that? A douchebag said things like that. The next day, Ray, my older sister and inarguably the most popular student on the campus, was scrolling through her phone when I climbed on her bed and shared my recent issue with her. She snorted. "Why did you make that noise?" I asked when we were done wheezing. "You're stupid, that's why. I knew you were gay." I narrowed my eyes on her. "I am not. Stop calling me that." She snorted again. No straight guy wonders why it felt so nice kissing another guy. When I didn't answer, she rolled her eyes. "It's not a big thing, Dev. You like boys. What's wrong with that?" "I have never imagined myself as that," I replied, "and I do not for certain know that I actually like guys, so—" She muttered something under her breath and then repeated it for me to hear it properly. "Duh! How old are you anyway? You have enough time." I clicked my tongue. "You're of no use. I'm leaving." "Listen," Ray called out after me with a laugh. "If you're so curious, you might as well kiss and see. If it was all a drunk feeling, then the next kiss shouldn't make you feel all those butterflies you said." "Shut up," I replied with a little blush. But then I thought, the idea wasn't so bad. All I needed now was a reason to kiss Ryan. Sometime later. Ray was stupid. She thought it was just so easy to face your gay awakening based on all the stupid fan fiction she read in all these years. But it wasn't. It was scary, and that was precisely why I couldn't face Ryan just like that. But I found my solution soon enough. I avoided him in public and sought after him in private. Each time I knew he was at a particular place where he wouldn't be surrounded by his little group of friends, I raced after him. It first started at the library. Typical, I knew. But it was what it was. "I asked for your notes," I said, and cornered Ryan into one of the shelves. It was silent and abandoned in this part of the library, so it was easier to feel a little confident. "I asked for your notes, and you didn't give me. You know I have poor eyesight." It was a lie. I didn't care about any notes. I was stalling. Ryan narrowed his eyes on me. "I do not owe you shit, so?" "That's the least you can do." He made a face. "Please let me study, lest I fail my subjects just like you have made a habit of doing." I defended myself. "I am not failing." Ryan rolled his eyes. "Keep telling yourself that." "You're so annoying," I exclaimed. Why did I even want to kiss him? "And what are you going to do about it?" Ryan asked. I returned his angry gaze and realized it was the perfect time to take the chance. I could always say I wanted him to shut up, the way it was done in romantic movies. So, right when he huffed and turned as if to leave the space, I grabbed him around the waist and kissed him. He gave a surprised little squeak, almost the same as that night, and then relaxed into the kiss. Whatever apology I had on my lips died down immediately. If he was willing, then what was so wrong about it? Even if my approach was quite questionable. When I pulled back, Ryan stared at me with wide, watery eyes, and, for the first time in my entire life, I couldn't help but think he was so gorgeous. "Why did you do that?" he asked. I could have said 100 different things, but I settled with, "Because you annoyed me." Ryan looked speechless for a second. Then he narrowed his eyes on me again. "You know what?" he said. "Stay away from me." But that wasn't going to happen. Ryan pretended like he hated being kissed by me, but the opportunities and situations where he successfully annoyed me increased in number soon after that. As the days passed, we clashed on more than one occasion each day. Each time that happened, we ended up kissing, usually in a very secluded corner, but also in very risky places where I knew a wrong move would get us in trouble, or at least my image as the perfect straight brother of the perfect soccer player on the campus, Ray. The most recent happened when I found Ryan sitting rather too close to one of our classmates, their hands clasped in a way that could make one wonder if they were dating. But they weren't dating. When Ryan finally caught my eyes, I knew he was doing it all to provoke me. Upset, I narrowed my eyes on him from my corner. There were too many people around us, and I didn't want to take any risks. Ryan didn't move because he knew I wouldn't appreciate it. Soon after the class ended, he excused himself and walked into the washroom. I followed after him and made sure no one was watching us. He was washing his hands when I found him. When I was sure he was done, I caught his eyes in our reflection in the mirror. "Well," he said, "seeking me out again, are you?" I flushed a little in shame because we both knew what I was there for. But even so, I furrowed my eyebrows and tried to appear more serious than I really was. "Who is the guy?" "Who?" I played with the water on the counter. I was sure it wasn't hygienic, but I couldn't really think about that right now. My thoughts were preoccupied with something else entirely. "The guy you were sitting with. Who was he?" I asked again. Ryan rolled his eyes. "Our classmate. Is your memory so weak?" I shook my head, feeling a little ashamed. "Who is he to you? Do you kiss him too?" This time, Ryan seemed offended. "Unlike you, I do not go around kissing people, Devon." He grabbed a few tissues and wiped his hands dry. "Besides, what's that to you anyways? We aren't exclusive. You do not have to feel jealous." "I do not feel jealous," I cried out, feeling indignant. "Sure," Ryan replied and tried to sidestep me. I didn't let him. I needed to kiss him. Yes, I wanted to kiss him again. In the last few weeks, we kissed several times, but none of the time I wanted to kiss him more than I wanted to kiss him in this second. "Ryan," I said, "what's up with you?" "What's up with you?" he asked in return, and he was right. What's up with me? Looking at things, my actions weren't really making a lot of sense. As much as I prided myself on the identity that I was very straight, I knew that was looking more and more fake the longer I stayed in Ryan's presence. The campus had already started giggling behind their hands that they knew Ryan was gay. "Oh, he acts like one." One of my classmates had chortled behind his back and hadn't stopped until I glared at them, and the longer I associated with him with the purpose that I wanted to kiss him, the less I could defend my apparent straight sexuality. "I am curious," I replied, feeling ashamed when Ryan glared at me. "And what am I, your guinea pig?" "That's not how I want you to feel." "That doesn't matter, because I feel like that." "I'm sorry," I replied and found his eyes. Outside the door, I could hear people walking in and around the washroom. Talking about this matter in the open wasn't safe, I knew. I grabbed Ryan's hand and dragged him into one of the stalls and locked it behind us. I know I should treat this matter a little differently, but I cannot help it. I want to keep kissing you." He huffed, but didn't reply to anything when the door opened. We stayed silent. He did that for my sake, and I did it for myself. I felt like the biggest loser on this campus. "Why were you here?" Ryan asked. I slapped a hand over his mouth and cornered him into one of the walls. "Can you stay silent?" I hissed. But there was no real bite in my words. I was nervous with myself, not upset at him. He licked my palm. I muttered a small ew and wiped my palm on his shirt. "What is wrong with you?" I asked. "Were you here to kiss me?" Ryan asked instead. "Shh, not so loud." He furrowed his eyebrows. "No one's going to beat you with a stick if you say you want to kiss me. But you were here for that?" I couldn't defend myself at that. "Yes," I replied. "Then why aren't you kissing me, loser?" And although still unsure about where we stood at this moment, I decided to do just that. I could deal with the other issues in time. A few days later. Ray was acting weird, and I wasn't sure why. I mean, I knew why, but I wasn't sure why she had to set her eyes on that one guy that I had my eyes on. Besides, wasn't it obvious that Ryan was gay? It started with the day when I found her checking out Ryan's Instagram account and the rumors that campus's hot student was running after the resident nerd. Like, what was going on in God's green earth? "What are you doing, Ray?" I asked, sounding annoyed even to my own ears. "Why are you checking out his profile?" "He is cute," Ray replied and scrolled some more. "You can do better," I dismissed her with a wave of my hand. "But he's cute," she insisted and scrolled some more. I wanted her off his case, but I wasn't sure how to be direct about that. Instead of pulling her attention to us, I decided to nibble on my bottom lip and glare at her every now and then, hoping that she'd take the damn hint and back off. But then I met Ryan again, and this time we broke out into an argument. It started out nicely, if I were to say so myself. Against my best judgment, I messaged him and asked him if he wanted to hang out with me after college hours. I told him we would meet a few stops away from our college, somewhere no one would see us. He sent me an eye roll emoji, but then he reached the spot at the time. "Hi," I said. "Thanks for coming." "Not for the first time," he replied. "Is this your way of asking me on dates? The last time you wanted me to sneak out of my own dorm room to meet you 2 streets away." I rubbed my nape. "I was shy then." Ryan rolled his eyes. "And you still are, by the looks of it." We both knew I wasn't shy. I was scared. "Can we kiss?" Ryan asked. "Not here," I replied. I pointed at my car. "In there. Safe." "God, I hope you change." In the car, Ryan asked where we were going. I answered that we were going on a long drive. I remembered him mentioning weeks ago that he considered long drives romantic. They are useless and basically nothing, but it's romantic. You see everything and nothing, he had said. I considered his talks romantic. No wonder he always had so many thick books with him all the time. So much reading would sure as hell boggle with anyone's mind. "You should have told me earlier. I could have brought my camera." "Your eyes are your lenses. Use them," I replied. Then I checked his bag. "Why is it so heavy? Books?" "What else?" he asked. I drummed my finger on the steering wheel. Not even 30 minutes into the open air, and I was already feeling nervous about something. "You have climbed the social ladder," I said, and then cringed with shame. What was I, a dumbass? Only a bully talked like that. I mean, hanging around the popular siblings. The only popular sibling among you two is Ray. I clenched my jaw. That's not true, though. To whom, exactly? I stopped the car. The roads were silent here, so I knew I wasn't about to block any fellow's smooth ride. "Why are you so annoying? Why do you always intend to get on my nerves?" Then I followed them with important questions. "Never mind. Just tell me, why are you hanging around with Ray so much?" "What's that got to do with you?" Ryan asked in return. "Everything. She's my sister." "But that's not what's bothering you, is it?" I sucked in a breath and asked the stupidest question known to mankind. "Are you gay?" He blinked. "What the hell? Are you gay?" I asked again. "Everyone keeps saying that you are, and I cannot help but wonder. Besides," I continued, stupid as I was, "you always look so happy when you kiss me, so you like kissing me. A guy. That means you're gay, right?" He blinked again, and it made me feel stupid all over again. "You look happy when you kiss me too. Are you gay, Devon?" Despite myself, I felt irritated. I knew I was acting irrationally and that this question was justified, but dealing with that question was difficult, especially when someone threw it right into my face. That's not a very nice thing to say. Ryan guffawed, and I again felt ashamed. I knew he was right to call me out. I was acting offensively stupid. "Seriously?" he muttered. "I am sorry." I hung my head low. After weeks of acting like a loser, this was the first time I'd apologized to him. "It's just, this is not easy to deal with. I knew for a fact even before kissing you that I liked looking at guys, but I always thought it was probably because I appreciated their looks on their, dressing sense. It doesn't make sense now, but it did then. Then the kiss thing happened, and now I cannot for the love of God get the record straight. I am so scared now, Ryan. Everyone knows me as some straight white dude who has had 3 girlfriends in the past. They expect me to come up with another, and here I am sneaking around with a little guy." Ryan glared at me. "Do not call me that." "You are short, though." "And dangerous," he replied, a little cheekily. What was this situation? I couldn't help but give a small laugh. "In essence, Ryan, I am sorry. I am not rude. I try not to be rude. And I like you. You're a nice guy. I just want to know if you're gay or if you're experimenting with me. Because It'll be a disaster. And I asked you the same thing. Are you gay? A few days later. Was I gay? Of course I was gay. No straight guy pined after another guy the way I did. If I were not gay, I wouldn't be looking for ways to sneak out with Ryan, or try to kiss him at every chance I got. But being confronted by the question up so close was scary, to say the least. What was I going to say to my sister, and worse, my parents? They were waiting for me to bring home a girl in the countryside home they mostly lived in now. But I also knew for a fact that they weren't going to present any trouble. Even then, just to be sure, I sent a text to my mom. I hope you know my coming out will not change anything about me. In return, she sent a series of question marks. I walked up and down the room, my hands clammy, and jumped when the door to my bedroom was opened in a rush. You told Mom you're gay? Ray screamed in surprise. What? No, I huffed. And you shouldn't open my bedroom door like that. What if I'm with someone, or worse, if I'm indecent? She raised an eyebrow. Then you should lock your door, loser. Ray jumped onto the bed, wrung her legs together, and asked me again what I told her mom. I cannot believe you told her before you told me. What happened to the good old siblings bond? I didn't tell her anything, I replied. Right, she clicked her tongue. What happened? Apparently, I have always been gay, but it was a certain boy who provoked those feelings out of me. Can you believe how weird that is? I threw my hands in the air. Ray shrugged. Honestly, that's not a rare case. Yeah, you know, fanfiction reader. She slapped a hand over my shoulder. It's not about that. Some people take decades to even accept themselves as anything but straight. Decades, Devon. You're lucky. Doesn't feel like it, I mumbled more to myself than to her. Why? She asked. I really didn't want to confess to her that I wanted to date the campus resident nerd like that, but the situation presented itself some 10 minutes later when I found her scrolling through Ryan's Instagram again. My God, what is wrong with her? You know he's gay, right? I couldn't help but ask. Did he tell you that yourself? Ray asked, and then, doesn't matter. He is cute. I am allowed to check out cute boys. Yeah, but he is gay. Don't get funny ideas. Does that change anything? Ray asked, a little mocking lit to her tone. I didn't want to take the bait, but she was getting on my nerves. I can ask him to experiment with me. I like him, all right, I confessed, flushed face and all. Oh, she replied, sounding amused. I have even kissed him, and he seems to like that a lot. Do you? Ray asked and looked straight into my eyes. I couldn't help but admit the truth. There was no denying it. All the gay crisis aside, it was the undeniable truth that I liked kissing Ryan. In fact, if I were so bold, I would even say that seeing him next to another guy didn't get on my nerves. It made me jealous, so it was clear that I liked him. The question was I willing to take the chance? Why aren't you guys together, Devon? Ray asked finally, and I thought, good question, Ray. A few days later, the question was, why should I care for the opinions of strangers who wouldn't even remember me 3 to 4 years from now on? We were going to be adults, and adulting was going to swallow us all. So how many of my batchmates were going to look back at this time and wonder, hey, didn't see that coming? The answer could have been quite a few, because I was popular, so that would make sense. But what direct consequence was that going to bring me? The answer was nothing. I was popular, Ray was popular, and no one was going to touch a hair on my skin if they did. It was going to land them in trouble. With that thought in my head, I decided to talk to Ryan in an open space, in public, among several other students. It wasn't like we were going to interact in public for the first time, but it was still special in some ways, and well, I was nervous. But I was ready to confront him and my feelings up front, like a big boy that I knew I was. Hiding from oneself was boring anyway. During the lunch hour at 1, I looked for Ryan in the cafeteria. His friends and he often visited that space during the lunch breaks. I knew because I just happened to know. Guilty as charged or whatever. Ryan, I said, and tapped my knuckles on the wooden table. Ryan was sitting too close to a certain guy, and I glared at the little to no space between them. Can we talk? Yes, we can, Ryan answered. Ever since he started interacting with me, he had grown a little too snarky for his own good. If I remember correctly, the Ryan from weeks ago was shy and dense at times. This change was nice. Well, Ryan said again. I felt nervous. Was I supposed to speak here? In private, I asked. No can do. In private, I begged. No can do, Ryan repeated with a small shake of his head. I pointed at the doors to the cafeteria. How about there? Ryan sighed and followed me there. I'm sorry, I began. I have decided to take the chance, but I don't think I'm ready to do it in front of so many people. Ryan didn't look bored, but he acted like it. He probably wanted to rile me up, like he did all the time before. Do what? He asked. I dipped my head a little and could hear the pin-drop silence in the cafeteria. I felt nervous, and I was suddenly aware of the eyes on us, but I couldn't back down now. Kiss you, I replied. I waited for a second or two to give him a chance to pull back if he wanted to, but when he didn't, I kissed him on his mouth. There was a collective gasp in the cafeteria, and I heard a few camera clicks. I knew even before we walked out of here, the pictures would be up on the uni's little social media group. The thought made me a little nervous, but not enough to pull back from the kiss. A minute or two after that, Ryan looked dazed and happy. I am gay, I confessed. You already know I am gay, Ryan replied with a smile. And I like you, I continued, a little nervously. Ryan's expression softened. If we are really confessing things, I want to say that I intentionally did things to piss you off so that you kiss me, Devon. I furrowed my eyebrows. Ryan looked flustered now. You mentioned it several times that the reason you kissed me is because you want to shut me up, and, well, I took it and ran away with it, literally. I couldn't help but give a small laugh at that. We are stupid. That we are, he agreed and ran his fingers over my shoulder. Well, I said. Well, what now? He asked and looked at the people looking at us. Immediately, many of them looked away. They know what you are. That's because I allowed them to see me. Ryan smiled up at me. That's true now. A few days later, now that the cat was already out of the box or something, Ryan and I decided we might as well date. Since I pretty much outed both of us as a couple, the thought of keeping our relationship private at first didn't really make sense. So, we were out and in a relationship by the time the weekend rolled in. Ryan and I were holding hands when we walked into my home. Ray was at home, and she whistled at the sight of us. Can you get out of the house, please? I asked. Oh, is it going to get loud? She wriggled her eyebrows. Ryan blushed and found his way to my bedroom. Until now, he had been in my bedroom at least 11 times. I will see you there. Can you not? I hissed at Ray. I am your sister. I am allowed to say whatever. But I think that's more to do with you wanting to write fan fictions. Doesn't it shame you to write fiction about your own brother? I will out you to the world. It doesn't embarrass me, she said. Seriously, Ray, get out. Give me the cue. I threw the couch cushion at her. This is the cue. Bye. Ryan was lying on my bed when I entered my bedroom. I locked the door after myself and draped myself over him. He was smaller than me in size, so I knew better than to put my entire weight on him. But did I not do that still? Of course I did. I put my entire weight on him to get a reaction out of him, and he squeaked. Devon, he laughed. Get off. You like giving reactions to my actions, I reminded him. He blushed, but then rolled his eyes. Tell me about it. I kissed him on his mouth. My parents are coming over on the weekend 2 weeks from now. They will stay for a week or so. Will you come to meet them? He played with my hair for a moment. Will that be okay, he asked. Why not? They already know I have a boyfriend. Let me guess, they're coming to meet this boyfriend. I guiltily shrugged. I should have asked you first. Maybe, but I don't mind, Ryan smiled at me. Really? I couldn't help but ask. He nodded and then flipped us over with some effort. He sat down on my lap, and I placed my hands on his hips. We were laughing, and I could hear a door slam downstairs. Good thing Ray left. I'm going to bake cheesecake this Wednesday. Will you come? I couldn't help but laugh. You? Cooking? Baking, he corrected, then rolled his eyes. But since you aren't interested, he tried to get off my lap, but I held on to him tightly. You sit there, and I am coming. Ryan leaned over me. Seriously? I placed a kiss on the top of his nose and then removed the offending glasses. His eyes looked prettier without them anyway. You can teach me a thing or two, since you read so much. Oh, he replied with a small teasing smile. You want to be taught? I nodded with a small chuckle. Then, Devon, I have read a lot. Honestly, dating between us was easy because both of us were a little unhinged and silly. Most of the problems were dealt with in fun, and our family support just made it a lot easier. Plus, Ryan was easy to get along with. When I suggested he could also wear contact lenses instead of glasses all the time, not because he doesn't look cute enough already, he confessed that he didn't really have the money to keep investing in that. So, that was how I found out about the financial issues at his home. Thankfully, I had enough money for both of us, and it didn't take long for Ryan to come to accept my help. The end. Have you ever witnessed the school's resident nerd and popular jock come together? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.